What I do for fun today is I am a barrier buster, so I like pissing people off and impacting and making changes.
So when I got to prison in 1999, I came to a system which has now been deemed absolutely unconstitutional on every level. So when I entered that system, there was nothing to do but gangbang and run amok and just be violent. There was no hope. Nobody was getting out. So the main obstacle when I got to prison was the system, and California had the most unjust system there was. So I determined to do something about it, and so really the main obstacle was really myself. So eventually I had to okay, the government's wrong, they're mean, they're unjust, but ultimately I got to go do some work with the guy in the mirror, just like many people on this panel have expressed. So so coming into an unconstitutional system, I still had an obligation to work on my own impediments, which that I created with my own criminal thinking, my criminal values.
For me, the only way I was going to be able to earn a living and really support my family was to start a business. And it happens a lot with a lot of guys that I see. Now we go back into the prisons and we're doing entrepreneurial programs, and there's a lot of really smart guys. So yeah, I think we come out and you don't think you can do things, but it becomes a necessity to figure out how to be an entrepreneur for a lot of us.
So I would just say for my story is that I was an entrepreneur at 12 years old. I just was selling stuff that the government didn't like me selling. So that said, my story is of drug dealing, incarceration, addiction, a lot of these different things that come with that. And so going to prison and stuff, for me, you don't get any kind of rehabilitation, and so I decided to rehabilitate myself because I was tired.
My name is Chris Beasley. I'm an assistant professor at University of Washington Tacoma and co-founder of the formerly incarcerated College Graduates Network, which is a network started up a few years ago, really grown since last year.
The biggest barrier I found to my entrepreneurial spirit was that I was afraid that somebody would find out that I had been formerly incarcerated. And so it's been very interesting over the last 10 years to kind of not lead with the fact that I spent time in the joint, but now I take a different tack, come out of the closet, so to speak, and say, if you think you don't know an ex-felon, guess who's next to you? And it shakes people up because they're not expecting a person like myself or anybody on this panel. I don't know what they're expecting, but what I do find interesting is the last thing they expect to do is to see people with carrying on their own businesses, making money, being a part of the system in the best and absolutely most American way, which is to work for yourself and build something. So
I was probably in prison for maybe 2 or 3 years before I really decided that maybe I shouldn't commit crimes anymore. I was just kind of figuring out how to do it better. So like in my case, my partner got caught, he got 1 year, I got 15. So I was like, well, I just won't have a partner anymore. I'll just kind of do it differently. So it wasn't so much that I was doing the wrong thing, I was just doing it the wrong way. So then, once education got good to me, I kind of changed my mind. And then that's kind of the mental part. You kind of decide where you want to go and what you should or shouldn't be doing. And then the mechanical part is when you actually get out, where are you going? So that was really important for me because I won some scholarship funding. The moment I got out, I had a place to live. I went to the UW. I had family support to buy clothes. I had a girlfriend to drive me around and get my driver's license. Like all these little things, right? But it's a big deal. It's amazing because the story is, shouldn't you be excited that this guy wants to better himself and go to school? But that's not the way it is. So, and that's just one example. I have like 50 more examples of my biggest roadblock every time for my education was the education department. So I did it all in spite of them, not because of them. And that's really what I'm trying to change.
All the work I do, you have to get people that were in, you have to get people that were in that population who have succeeded to mentor them through it. Those are the most, they're not the only types of people that could help that population, but that's what comes up for me. If it requires, getting people that have succeeded and that there's someone they can relate to.
So when you're saying, making that statement, how can I help? Oh, there's lots of ways. We can put you to work, right? We can put you to work. So, yes, get involved. Mobilize your community members, your friends. Like you said, we have to spread the word just by word of mouth. You know, even being the work that I do, I couldn't do it by myself. So I had to find like-minded people who had the same purpose, same goal, that was willing to help us get to make, that we can make a difference.